Jesus didn't give a rip about the religious crowd thought of him. Why? Because that wasn't the reason he came. Keep something in mind. It wasn't the atheists, it wasn't the agnostics, and it wasn't the devil worshipers that crucified or killed Jesus. It was the most religious of the day that crucified Jesus. And why? Why did the religious of the day hate him so much that they wanted to kill him? Jesus offered forgiveness, not condemnation. The people that Jesus was concerned about were the broken, the poor, the outcast, and the hurting. Those that society wanted to throw away. He didn't yell at them. He didn't look down his nose at them. He didn't look and say, well, what are you doing in church? You shouldn't be in church. He offered them forgiveness and compassion. And if someone stumbles into sin, we, the church, should show mercy and help them to be restored back to the faith. That's what we should do. Jesus reaches out to them, and the church must reach out to them. John 3:17, for God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. Now, Jesus never once told sinners that their behavior was okay. He didn't do that. Jesus, in fact, preached repentance, but he did not condemn them. Sinners always left Jesus' presence changed. And I realize he was Jesus. He's the Son of God. But every time that sinners were in his presence, when they left him, they were changed. Remember the woman that was caught in the very act of adultery? The religious crowd said, the law says stone her. Jesus writes on the ground, likely all their hidden sins of these guys that wanted to stone her. And after they all left one by one, from the oldest to the youngest, Jesus looks at the woman and he said, where are your accusers? And she said, there's no one here, Lord. And he said, neither do I condemn you. Now go sin no more. Zacchaeus. He woke up one morning a miserable, cheating tax collector. But one day Jesus said, I want to have lunch at your house. And after he met with Jesus, he was willing to give back 4 times the amount that he had taken. He was changed. Then there was a demon-possessed man that met with the presence of Jesus, who had his dwelling among the tombs. I just got to stop there. What a horrible place to live your life, in a graveyard. And that's where this man was living, in a graveyard. So many people in our world today are living in a sick, dead environment. They hate getting up this morning. They hate their life. And no one could bind him, not even with chains, because he had often been bound with shackles and chains, and the chains had been pulled apart by him, and the shackles broken in pieces. Neither could anyone tame him. They couldn't do anything with this man. And always, night and day, he was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying out and cutting himself with stones. This man had been separated from society completely, and he was living in a graveyard, screaming and hollering and cutting himself. That's our hurting individual. But one day, Jesus went where he was. They told Jesus, don't go there. But Jesus went there. And after he had met with Jesus, verse 15 says, then they came to Jesus and saw the one who had been demon-possessed and had the legion sitting and clothed in his right mind. Jesus went where the hurting were.